one of the things that I really love about this trail is that for most of it, you're kind of on a shelf road running right next to the river. So you've got the sounds of the water rushing by, you've got incredible views the whole way. It's really an incredible place. There's definitely some water on the trail. A couple of puddles that I've come to up until now haven't worried me very much, but this back here is a pretty serious mud pit. So I wanted to get out and walk it and just figure out my line, because what I don't want to do is get stuck in some real deep mud. This stuff just looks so wet. These ruts up here are pretty serious. Look at those ruts. That's almost tire deep on the passenger side. I think I'll come this way. The ground is fairly solid under my feet. If I avoid that big puddle altogether, just because who knows how deep that rut is right there. Come this way, I should be on pretty hard packed earth. We'll fling a little mud, but nothing we can't handle. Day. That wasn't too bad. Gave it some gas. We got right through that. No problem. Bandit's doing good here. He's ready to get to camp though. We got another one that I wanted to walk really quick just to see what we're getting into. I think arguably this is probably the toughest part of the trail, and it's not even really that tough, but once we get down here to the bottom, I'll show you. We've got this descent where you're sort of just stair stepping. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but you got some pretty big holes alternating under your tires. It's a fairly big hole. That's a fairly big hole. So you make your way down that right into this pretty tight turn. Of course, we've got a little water at the bottom, and then you climb back up and out. Looks pretty doable, so let's do it. Well, we made it to a pretty incredible campsite. In terms of something that's within a couple hours of home, I just don't think it gets much better than this. We're right on the bank of a river. It's flowing super fast with all the spring runoff from the Sierra Nevadas. But the weather is perfect. It's probably in the 70s, so we shaved off about 20 degrees. A spot is perfect. It just does not get better than this. And now it's time to set up camp and settle in and enjoy ourselves, do a little relaxing. Now I'm trying my hardest to get Bandit to learn to want to lay on my little front porch mat there. But no matter how hard I try to convince him, his favorite place is a shady spot in the dirt. He loves to be in the dirt. This area is just so cool because off the main river there's so many of these little streams and things. So right around camp, even though that main arm of the river is flowing super fast, we've got this little arm that comes off and it's sort of dammed here a little bit and it's dammed back here, which means this is probably a really nice little swimming hole, although I'm sure it's a cold plunge right now. And as we were walking around earlier, I saw some pretty interesting plants over here. Just bright red against the green of the rest of the forest. Check this out. One of the things I'm excited to do a little bit on this trip is play around with my new DJI Avata FPV drone. Of course, right after I bought the little guy, they released the second version of this, which comes with a ton of upgrades that I wish I had. But what are you gonna do? This thing is super small, super lightweight. It can fly really fast. I've already crashed it once or twice because it just gets away from me. Back in like 2015, I used to be really into flying FPV drones, and then I got more into the cinematic stuff and I left FPV behind. And then I came across a deal on this little guy and I couldn't pass it up. I don't think it's gonna give me the same sort of experience as flying a Mavic and getting some of those cinematic shots, but I think it's pretty fun and a cool piece of kit as long as I can get good at flying it. So I've got a bunch of full batteries, and while we're here for a couple of days, this is a perfect area to just let it rip and get comfortable flying it. Bandit is loving being back to camping. Aren't you, bud? Yeah, you're getting to do so much exploring. Who's a good boy? I wasn't totally sure how he would take it since he's been a normal house dog for the last 5 months with a big backyard and all of the comforts of home. But now that we've got the Troopy back and we're able to take these trips again, I wanted to get him started. So I'm stoked that he seems back to his old self and is loving being out here. Now I'm pretty sure that the mosquitoes are gonna be out in force tonight. I already got a few little mosquito bites. I pulled the thermocell out, but I'm worried that it's not gonna be enough. So I think it's time to get an early dinner, and we might retreat into the tent before things get too bad out here. The grocery store had New York strips on sale, and I am not one to pass up a deal. So we got 2 New York strips. We got some mushrooms, onions, and asparagus. We're gonna do those up in butter. I'll have dinner for 2 nights here, and it's gonna be so good. Oh, you gotta get it. You gotta get it. Get your dinner, bud. Yeah. Well, now Bandit's got his dinner. I've got my dinner. We're coming up on sunset. We've got this beautiful river in front of us. Life is good. As expected, just before sundown here, the mosquitoes came out in force. The thermocell couldn't even keep them at bay. It was working as hard as it could, but they were trying to just carry us away. So, after taking a quick walk and burning some energy, we have retreated back into the truck, into the safety of the Alu cab and the Troopy. And I think, you know, one of these things that I need to get used to here, being on the road full-time, full-ish time, is working in the evenings. You know, we spend the day exploring, and I've got videos to edit. So I'm going to probably just spend the rest of the night editing a video so I can get one out for you this week, and then we'll pick you back up in the morning. Isn't that right, bud? Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about being back in the Alu cab, huh? Does it feel like home? Alright, y'all. We'll pick you up in the morning. Well, good morning. We had a pretty incredible night last night. The temperatures were perfect. The sound of the river rushing by was perfect, and the stars were absolutely incredible. We slept in a little bit this morning. It's about 9 in the morning. So that means it's time to get coffee and breakfast going, and then we'll see what we get up to today. Well, we're keeping it pretty simple here for breakfast. We're doing sausage and egg breakfast burritos. I'm not cracking any eggs on this trip. We've got eggs in a jug, so make of that what you will. But I'm looking forward to these burritos. It's going to be pretty tasty and pretty easy, hopefully. Well, now we've got breakfast, we've got coffee. What more could you ask for? This is living. Well, with breakfast done, we're gonna take our coffee on the road. We're gonna go for a little walk, see what we can explore around this part, let Bandit stretch his legs a little, burn some energy, and take in the sights and sounds of the forest out here. Oh, other side. There's the dog. One of my favorite things to do with Bandit is to walk a bit away from camp and then let him lead the way back. I'm always amazed how good he is at finding where we're supposed to go. And he's real good being off leash. His recall is strong, which is the only reason I let him off leash. When he's walking in front of me like this, he never gets too far. He always stops and turns around and checks in with me, makes sure I'm behind him. Yes, you good boy. Get us back to camp. Let's see if he's gonna make the turn. Yes, you good boy. That's it. Good job, bud. Take us home. Yeah, take us home. Good boy. Yeah, where's the truck? Get us back to the truck, bud. Good boy, there it is. Well, now you know the rules. You can't come to a body of water without getting in it. The river, this time of year, obviously, rivers are dangerous. So don't take this lightly. They're fast moving, the water is super cold with all of the snow melt, but because of where we're set up, we've got this little arm over here that is sort of dammed up and creating a slow moving swimming hole. So you know we gotta take the cold plunge. I have one other reason for doing this though, and it is because I threw Bandit's ball a little bit too hard and it ended up right over here, right on the front end of this pile of logs and things that are stopping the flow. So that means it's on me to go get it. Time to take the cold plunge. Now this right here has got to be actually one of the most functional parts of the build in the Troopy. And it's just the fact that I can sit back here. The laptop on top of the alu box is the perfect desk height. And it's just comfortable to be sitting here editing videos, sending emails, doing work, whatever it is. And, you know, for full time living on the road, this is more than just, you know, coming to camp and spending time lounging in the sun. There are things that I need to get done. And so I'm just really stoked every time I get to use this, that it feels so good and so comfortable and so productive. So this is what my afternoon looks like. I've got the sound of the river rushing in the back. I've got the windows on the alley cab open and the breeze blowing through. And I'm just trying to crank out a couple edits. Well, it has been an incredibly relaxing afternoon, and now it's getting close to dinner time. We're coming up on 6 o'clock here. So that means it's time to cook. We're doing steak, mushrooms, onions, asparagus again tonight because I've got it and because it's good. So let's get to cooking. Well, it's almost become a little ritual for us, but I really enjoy these post-meal walks. We do it after breakfast and after dinner, just to let Bandit stretch his legs. It's good for me to stretch my legs too, I suppose. And because we have a very small window before the mosquitoes really come out in force. What are you doing, bud? Come on, we're walking. There are just so many good camping options along this road. This one is a little ways down from where we're camped. Oh, you just pull back in here. You could probably fit 2 or 3 cars pretty comfortably. Nice little fire pit. Great river access. Back over here is just an absolutely enormous campsite. Big fire rings. You could easily fit 15 cars back here. So, good spot if you're ever doing a group trip. Great river access. Nice little shallow walk in if you just want to get wet. Golly, and there's no one here. Got the whole place to myself. It's incredible. Well, as expected, by the time we're back from our walk, the mosquitoes are out for blood. So it's, let's see, coming up on 7:45, and that means we're going to retire to bed. We're going to get in here in the safety of the Troopy, keep as many mosquitoes out as we can, and I'll probably work on editing a video. We'll relax, maybe watch something on Netflix, fall asleep, and we'll get ready to do it all again tomorrow. This is the Kuju Coffee Dark Roast. Well, another morning, another breakfast burrito. It's one of my favorite breakfasts because it's filling, it's easy to make, it comes together real quick. Well, we are cruising out of camp now, and there's still a lot of day left. We're in the early morning hours still. It's about 9:30, and there are a couple of trails that I found on Onyx that I want to explore up in this area. There might be some cool old cabins to see, potential for mapping out a future campsite or two. And you know, this is one of my favorite things, just taking a couple hours after camping and exploring the area so that you can add more camping options, backup options into your map and save them for future use. So let's do that. Well, we're about half a mile in. So far so good. The trail has gotten fairly tight, overgrown, and there's some pretty considerable deep ruts here. Nothing the Troopy can't handle. We're having fun. We're rocking and rolling a little bit. We're basically descending down the side of this little mountain, presumably to get down to the river itself. So let's see if we can make it. Well, we made it to the end of the trail. I can definitely see why Onyx calls this a moderate difficulty trail. The last 100 or so meters right to the end is a pretty rutted out rock garden type area. Really, really fun trail. And it leads you to this beautiful campsite. It'd be a shame to run this trail on a weekend when you get here and this is already full, because there's really only the one site down here, but you're right on the edge of the North Fork of the Tuolumne, and this is a perfect little river to play around in. The one we camped at the past 2 nights, you know, it's very, very fast moving right now, high water, but this one is just a perfect little area. Yes, you good boy. That's a water dog. Yes, you good boy. Now the cool thing about this trail is that it's actually a system of trails. While the North Fork Trail ends right at this campsite here, it actually can continue on if you come through the campsite and do this river crossing, or stream crossing really. You'll end up coming up over there, which is the start of Wright's Crossing Trail. But I think for us, we're gonna hang out, grab some lunch, play in the stream a little bit, and then we're gonna make tracks for home. This has just been a quick trip to get Bandit back into the Troopy, back into camping, and I'm so happy that he's been loving it. He's been a normal house dog for the last 4 or 5 months, but to see him out here living his best life, having fun on the trails, having fun at camp, has just made my heart so full. So we're gonna enjoy the day here. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. If you like what we're doing, it's a huge help to give these videos a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and sticking around for a while, because we've got a lot of great stuff in store. Until next time, get out and explore somewhere.